Hi there, everybody, and welcome to MET's CUT for the month of January 2022. And in this particular video, ang topic natin is student-centered teaching. At ang ating lecturer ay walang iba kundi si Mr. KNOI ESMANE. Sir KNOI, magandang araw sa iyo.
Hi, good day. Magandang araw din sa iyo, EJ. I'm so excited because this particular subject matter, maraming mga questions ang nanggagaling dito na lumalabas sa ating board exam. So I hope with our 20 questions that we prepared for our students, sana makatulong ito para mas lalong tumaas yung confidence level nila this coming board exam.
Tama po yan, Sir KNOI. So siguro po, let's begin po. Let's start with question number 1.
So ang mangyayari ngayon, ikaw yung magtatanong, Edward, and I'll try to give the best answer. Tama ba yon?
Tama yon, Sir KNOI. Tama
sige. So let's start na.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, the goal of student-centered learning starts and ends with, is it A, stakeholders, B, students, C, teachers, or D, administrators?
Okay, so for this particular question, ang tinatanong dito kung saan nagsisimula at nagtatapos ang student-centered learning. By the name itself, nakalagay student-centered. So ibig sabihin, the center of the solar system when it comes to student-centered learning, of course, is letter B, the student. It's not the teacher, it is not the administrator or the stakeholders in general, but it starts and ends with students. Yan ang pinakamadaling.
Students, letter B.
Oo, tama, Edward.
Okay, sir. Okay po, sir. Number 2. Number 2 po, Teacher Martin's goal is to encourage more participation in his classroom discussion. To achieve this, he uses questions that elicit many possible right answers. These questions are known as, is it A, probing questions, B, convergent questions, C, divergent questions, or D, prodding questions?
So this particular question naman, ang focus ito yung different kinds of question. Of course, as the teacher maneuvers the discussion or the activities inside the room, gumagamit siya ng mga creative ways of asking questions, At iba-iba yung mga klase ng questions. Apat ang nabanggit dito. May probing, may convergent, may divergent, at may prodding. When a teacher would like to elicit many possible right answer, anong tawag kaya sa tanong na yun? Edward, sige nga, bigyan mo nga ako ng hula mo kung ano ang tingin mo tamang sagot dito.
Nako, sir, hindi ko alam ang sagot dito.
Sige lang. Okay.
Pero sir, kung baka sir convergent, I'm not so sure. Convergent po ba ang tamang sagot dito?
When you say convergent question, it means that there is one single answer. Iisa lang yung tamang sagot. Pero pag ang gusto ng teacher, maraming possible right answer, ang tawag doon ay divergent. So like for example, pag sinabi ng teacher, magkano ang bili mo sa bisikleta? Siyempre, ang sagot doon, iisa lang. So, pag ang tamang sagot ay 500, that is, of course, 500, that is convergent kasi iisa lang yung tamang
convergent
sagot.
Po yan, sir.
Oo. Pero pag gusto ng teacher, yung maraming possible right answer, the teacher will use divergent. For example, sabi ng teacher, what are the different ways of conserving water? Marami ang mga paraan para mag-conserve ng water. That kind of question is divergent. Yung probing naman, yung letter A, when you say probing, is yung teacher are trying to dig deeper, Hindi siya kontento sa isang tanong, marami siyang mga tinatawag na mga follow-up question to probe deeper into the question or into the idea of the student. So, probing ang tawag, nagbubungkal siya. Pag prodding naman, yung letter D, igina-guide sa pamamagitan ng kanyang mga tanong na i-guide niya yung estudyante patungo sa tamang sagot. Okay, so dito sa number 2, if the teacher's main goal is to elicit many possible right answer. Edward, again, what's the answer?
Divergent ba, Sir KNOI?
Yes.
Divergent questions.
Okay, sige. Masaya ito, Edward. Tatanungin kita pag ano ang sa tingin mong tamang sagot. Sige, let's proceed with number 3.
Sige, sir. Okay. Go lang tayo dyan. Number 3, as a preschool teacher, Miss Patricia makes her students feel that she knows exactly what is happening in her classroom as if she has eyes at the back of her head. This concept is known as, is it A, Pygmalion effect, B, Hawthorne effect, C, with-itness, or D, ripple effect? Ako, sir, hindi ko rin alam ang sagot dito.
Yeah. So these
Paano masagutan ito, sir?
Ito yung mga psychological phenomenon na nangyayari sa classroom. Meron tinatawag as Pygmalion effect, Hawthorne effect, with-itness, and ripple effect. Pero ang tanong dito is, ang tingin daw ng mga bata, yung teacher nila ay may mata sa kanyang batok o sa likuran ng kanyang ulo. Nangyayari ito dahil nararamdaman nila na lahat ng gagawin nila sa loob ng silid-aralan ay alam ng teacher. So the teacher is very much aware of what is happening inside the room. So ang effect na ito, ang tawag dito ay letter C, with itness, ang tawag dyan. Okay? With itness means it seems that the teacher has eyes at the back of her head. O, isa-isayin naman natin yung mga ibang mga psychological effect inside the room. Ano? When you say Pygmalion effect, ang ibig sabihin nito yung tinatawag natin mga self-fulfilling prophecies. Ano? Halimbawa, patuloy na sinasabi ng teacher, ay nako, mahirap ang mga questions na lalabas sa exam. So definitely, lahat kayo babagsak. Pag paulit-ulit ang sinasabi ng teacher, nagiging totoo talaga siya. Ang tawag doon yung self-fulfilling prophecy. So hindi maganda yon na pinangungunahan ng teacher yung mga estudyante sa isang hindi magandang posibleng mangyari sa examination kasi maaaring magkatotoo yun. Pygmalion effect yun. Yung Hawthorne effect naman, it is another psychological phenomenon that's happening not only in the classroom, but it can also happen in the industry. Ito yung nangyayari kung saan ang isang tao ay nagpe-perform better kapag alam niyang binabantayan siya. So pag sinabi ng teacher, tomorrow darating ang principal, o obserbahan tayo kung paano tayo nag-aaral. So definitely, yung mga estudyante magpe-perform better kasi alam nilang binabantayan sila. So hindi ibig sabihin talagang mahuhusay talaga o talagang ganun talaga ang kanilang habit when it comes to studying. Nangyari lang yung ganung habit simply because binabantayan sila. Hawthorne effect ang tawag doon. So para maiwasan yung Hawthorne effect, dapat hindi nila alam na inoobserbahan sila. Dapat non-participant observation. Hindi alam nung inoobserbahan na may nag-o-observe para sa kanya. Yun. So yung pangatlo naman, yung ripple effect, ibig sabihin naman ito, parang ripple, di ba? Pag nagtapon ka ng isang stone sa ilog o sa body of water, nagkakaroon ng small round circle, we call it a ripple, hanggang yung maliit na yun, palaki na palaki na palaki. Di ba? That's the concept of ripple. In the classroom, if you apply that ripple effect in the classroom, ibig sabihin nito, a behavior might start in one student but eventually will affect other students. Example, yung pagiging daldalan, ingay sa classroom. Kapag hindi agad sinita ng teacher yung ingay na yon, maaaring kumalat yun sa buong classroom.
Kakalat.
Dahil ang tawag din is ripple effect. Okay? But here, pag sinabing eyes at the back of their head, it means the with-itness. Okay? Ibig sabihin nun, yung teacher aware sa lahat ng nangyayari sa loob ng silid-aralan. Effective ito lalo sa mga elementary students kasi paniwalang-paniwala talaga sila na yung teacher alam na alam yung nangyayari sa loob. Sasabihin ng teacher, okay, huwag kayong kikilos, huwag kayong gagalaw dyan. Alam ko kung sinong gagalaw dito. So, paniwalang-paniwala yung mga bata na si teacher talaga ay parang gagamba na maraming mata. Na totoo lang, it's just a psychological effect. Okay? Yan.
Pero sir, mahirap tong tanong na to kasi lahat may effect except yung sa with-itness, di ba?
Yes.
Kaya talagang parang mag-iisip yung estudyante na kukuha.
Correct. But mind you, Edward, this particular question, it's been appearing in a lot of mga, what do you call it, in the past, mga board exam, paulit-ulit na lumalabas itong si with-itness. Ano? Kung minsan lumalabas si Hawthorne, minsan si Pygmalion, but si with-itness, paborito yata ito ng ating
paborito.
Yes. Okay, so number 4 tayo.
Okay po.
Okay.
Number 4 po tayo.
Ikaw ba na-gets mo na with-itness?
Yes, sir. Actually, hindi po.
But
so
now,
I'm actually learning while we're doing
very good. Yun ang importante. No? Tsaka gusto
ngayon po alam ko na with-itness pala yun.
Oo, at saka nagkakausap tayo. I like this kind of coaching. Kakaiba. Okay, number 4, Edward.
Number 4 po, which among the following is an example of signal interference? Is it A, a teacher showing some traffic signs, B, teacher instructing the students how to form lines, C, teacher putting her index finger in front of her lips to silence her students, or D, teacher getting near a noisy student to stop the noise? Ang hirap na naman ang tanong na to. So saan na magsagot dito?
Okay. Madali lang ito, Edward. Itong question na ito ay patungkol to sa classroom management. Ano? A teacher is not only good in giving instruction, but she must also be good in managing the classroom, especially kapag may mga erratic behavior, ano? So, isa sa mga ginagawa niya para makontrol niya yung classroom at ma-manage niya properly yung classroom is yung tinatawag na signal interference. So,
Signal.
okay, when you say signal interference, okay, it is, okay, hindi gumagamit ng salita. Signal lang, pero naiintindihan ng mga bata yung kanyang gustong iparating. So, yung letter A, teacher showing some traffic signs, definitely is not an example of signal interference. Kasi there is the word
Out na po yun, sir, no?
out na siya. Kasi there is the word interference, meaning nag-i-stop. The signal stops something. Okay? So, yung letter B naman, teacher instructing the students how to form lines, definitely, it is not signal because it involves verbal instruction. Ano? So, A and B definitely is already out. If you can immediately remove yung mga obviously wrong answer, then it increases your chance of getting the right answer. So, letter C or letter D na lang. Oh, I'm sorry, may mali doon. Let C or D na lang. Ano? So, isa-isayin natin to. Si letter C, teacher putting her index finger in front of her lips to silence the students. Okay, is that an example of signal interference? Or letter D?
Parang ito yan, sir, no? Pwede, no?
Or letter D, teacher getting near, lalapit sa estudyante to stop the noise. Okay? So the answer here really is letter C. Because obviously there is a signal. The mere fact na inilagay dito yung kamay, alam ng mga bata na ang ibig sabihin nito ay tigil na, tahimik na. Okay. Although yung letter D, ginagamit din siya na classroom management technique, although hindi signal interference ang tawag dyan. Ang tawag sa letter D is proximity or nearness. Kung minsan, pag nakikita mo na may nagdadaldalan, hindi mo naman kailangan pansinin lahat, ano? Huwag tayong overacting when it comes to managing the class. Like may nagdadaldalang dalawa. Kung minsan, ang unang gagawin mo is signal ka lang. Pag gumanon ka lang, alam na nila yun na tigil na. Pag hindi makuha sa signal, then you proceed to what we call proximity or nearness. Lalapitan mo siya. Di ba pag nagdadaldalan yung dalawang estudyante mo at lumapit ka at malapit sa area nila, automatic titigil na sila. Without you saying anything, titigil kasi katabi ka na nila di ba? So, yan. Yan yung mga paraan kung paano sila nakokontrol. So, there is such thing as signal interference, proximity or nearness, or sometimes you also use dropping the name. How do you do in dropping the name? Halimbawa, nagdi-discuss ka ng rule of adding similar fraction. Pero si Maria, hindi siya nakikinig sa'yo. So the teacher can say, okay, the rule in adding similar fraction is very easy. Maria, all you have to do is to add the numerator and then you copy the denominator. Maria. So the mere fact na dinrap mo yung name niya, alam niya na siya yung medyo hindi maganda ang behavior. Ititigil niya na yon. But according to preference, ang una mong gagawin is signal interference. Yun ang pinakamabilis, at pinaka-effective. Diba? At kung minsan, hindi mo na kailangan mag-signal Sometimes, kung maliit lang naman yung infarctions, when you say infarctions in the class, ito yung mga misbehaviors, kung maliit lang naman yung infarction, ignore. Sometimes you just have to simply ignore kasi hindi dapat overacting ng teacher. So, pero pag hindi na kayang i-ignore, kapansin-pansin na, then dyan na mag-i-start. You signal, hindi pa rin nakuha sa signal, proximity, lalapitan mo. Hindi pa rin makuha sa proximity, you drop the name, banggitin mo yung pangalan niya. Hindi pa rin makuha doon, then you call the attention. Edward, kanina ka pa daldal ng daldal ha. Nag-signal na ako. Lumapit pa ako sa iyo. Din-drop ko na yung name mo. Ano pa bang kailangan mong gawin? So, yun na yung maximum na yun. Yun na yung ultimatum na talaga yun. Correct? Are you learning, Edward?
Tama po. Super, sir. Super learning. Para magiging top-notcher na ako nito, sir.
I'm enjoying this discussion with you or this interview with you. Okay, let's proceed. Number 5.
Number 5, sir. The teacher believes in authoritative discipline. Which among the following situation manifests this? Is it A, teacher involves her students in decision-making process? B, teacher allows the students to do whatever pleases them? C, teacher instills fear among her students? Or D, teacher lists the rules for everyone to follow? Okay, so ito bahagi. This particular question is again part of classroom management, particularly on style of discipline. So basically, there are actually 3 3 lang naman talaga yung starting ng discipline. We have what we call authoritative. Number 2 is autocratic. Okay? And number 3 is laissez-faire.
Pag sinabing authoritative, ito yung democratic. Okay? Meaning to say, you are giving opportunity for your student to become part of the process of the discipline. Ano? Pag sabi naman autocratic, ibig sabihin naman nun talagang siya lang yung masusunod, ano? Yung teacher lang. Ano? Para pag sinabi naman laissez-faire, bahala kayo. It's free-flowing. Kung saan kayo masaya, bahala ka. Parang ganon. So dito, ang hinahanap natin ay yung authoritative or yung meaning to say, democratic, participative discipline. So sino yung nagpapakita dito? Hanapin natin yung obviously wrong. So when teacher instills fear among her students, I don't think it's authoritative. Di ba? Pananakot, hindi part ng demokrasya yan. Medyo may pagka-autocratic yan. Ano? So remove na siya. Letter C. Ano pa, Edward, ang pwede mong alisin dyan?
Siguro, sir, yung teacher allows the students to do whatever pleases them.
Okay, yes.
Tama ba, sir?
Yaan, kung pinapayagan mo yung mga bata gawin ang gusto lang nila, bahala na sila sa buhay nila, hindi rin authoritative yan. Ang tawag dyan ay parang laissez-faire. Okay, so dalawa na lang, Edward. Letter A or letter D. So, when it comes to authoritative or what we call democratic, the answer here is letter A. Teacher
A, sir.
Yes. She involves her students in decision-making process. At yun naman talaga dapat yung technique, ano? When you create rules, for example, in the classroom, okay, kailangan kasali sila sa pag-create nito. Hindi yung pwedeng letter D na ililista na lang ng teacher yung mga rules at ito yung susundin ng mga bata. When there is participation in creating rules or mga standards of behavior, kung kasali sila sa paggawa nito, there is what we call a sense of ownership. The sense of ownership will allow them to own the rules and it will become easier for them to follow these standards because sila mismo ang nag-isip at tumulong mag-create ang mga listahang ito. So it's a very effective discipline style. We call it authoritative or participative discipline. So the answer here again is letter A. Tama ka, Edward. Ikaw ba, Edward?
Opo. Pero sir, sa totoo lang po, medyo nakaka-confuse po ito. Kasi siguro po sa mga bata talaga na walang idea about those types. Akala nila pag authoritative, authority. Talagang letter D ang sagot nila. Pero tama, sir. Letter A pala ang tamang sagot dito.
Noon din nalilito lang. Parang kasi authoritative, autocratic, parehong may word na gano'n, di ba? Parang sounds like, ano. That's why now, parang mas maiwasan yung confusion. Lagi kong sinasabi na authoritative or participative. Tapos yung autocratic, ito yung, of course, yung, alam mo, siya yung authoritarian ang dating niya.
Ayan, tandaan niyo yan, guys, ha? Napakahalaga nito. Ayan.
Yes, okay. Ikaw, Edward, anong klaseng disciplinarian ka ba? Democratic ka ba?
Sir, I think, sir, tama. Authoritative, sir, talaga ako siguro, I think. I allow my students to participate.
Hindi naman yung tipong yung bahala na kayo kung sa kayo masaya, gano'n. May limits.
Hindi naman, sir, pwede yun. Hindi, sir, pwede.
Okay. Sige, tama ba? Number 6 na tayo?
Sir, number 6 po.
Tama ba?
Teacher routinely...
sorry, number 6.
Tama, sir. Number 6 po. Teacher routinely records attendance of students every day. This depth form is known as... Naku, hindi ko po ito alam.
Okay.
Is it A form 138, B form 2, C form 9, or D form 8?
Ito naman yung part ng ginagawa ng mga teachers, ano? Siyempre, as a teacher, you are not just, kumbaga, the source of instruction, or the deliverer of the lesson, but you also have like mga paperwork that you have to submit and perform, and to work on. So, I'm sure meron kang familiar ka dyan. Inabutan mo yung panahon ng Form 138.
Hindi kasi, sir, di ako nung sir, sa high school, tsaka sa sir, di ba?
But I remember,
sir, ako sa UST.
Siguro nung high school ka, sasabihin ng teacher mo, papuntahin nyo dito yung mga magulang ninyo dahil ibibigay ko na yung inyong Form 138. Narinig mo ba yon?
Card ba yan, sir?
Yes.
Yung Form 138?
Yes. Ang Form 138 ay report card. Ano? Although, kasi syempre nagbago na ang panahon, hindi na ginagamit ang Form 138. So, ang report card ng mga bata, ang tawag dyan ay Form 9. Okay? So, if A and letter C, they're the same, neither A nor C will be the answer. Yan ang lagi kong tinuturo sa estudyante ko. Kung pareho ang ibig sabihin ng dalawang bagay na ito, hindi yan pwede maging tamang sagot. Because in every question, there will only be one right answer. Form 138 and Form 9, they're the same. report card. So, hindi na yan. Okay.
So, out
So,
na po.
dalawa na lang. So, Form 2 and Form 8. Ang
Sir, pwede ko manghula? Hulaan
Sige.
ko, sir.
Pwede. Kasi 50-50 ka na.
Form 2.
Remember, pag dalawa na lang natira, 50-50 ka na. Sa palagay mo, Edward, ano dyan ang
Thank
attendance?
you, sir. Kasi, sir, talagang hindi ko alam to kasi first job ko is UST ka agad. So, talagang never ako nagturo sa DepEd. Form 2?
Very good.
Form 2 ba, sir?
Kita mo yon. Dahil na-eradicate mo yung A and C, hinulaan mo lang, pero nakuha mo pa. Diba?
Talaga? Wow,
That
good
is what
job.
is what you call intelligent guessing. Intelligent guessing. Kasi nagtanggal ka muna ng very obviously wrong answer, natira yung dalawa, hindi mo pa rin alam, namili ka, na-hit mo pa. Eh kung kapag hindi ka nakapag-eliminate ng obviously wrong, ang layo ng chance, 25% lang ang chance mo. Kanina, naging 50-50 na. So, Form 2 is what we call the attendance record. Ito yung ginagawa ng teacher every day, okay? Para every day, you have to check the attendance of your student. Sana alala akong teacher nito, before ang tawag sa attendance record ay Form 1. Hindi na Form 1 kasi ngayon ang Form 1 is the general record. I forgot the exact term for that. But ngayon, kasi Form 2 na yung tawag. Kung makikita mo yung itsura niya, para siyang may guhit siyang ganyan. So pag absent yung bata, lalagyan mo ng isang guhit, magiging X na siya. Ibig sabihin ng X, siya ay absent. Na talaga noon. Tapos, pag tardy naman, may isi-shade kayong taas, or nag-cut class siya, isi-shade mo yung baba. Cute siya. So madali mo siya makita kung nag-absent, kung nag-tardy, o nag-cut ng class. Sa Form 2 yan. Itong Form A, kakaiba ito. This is parang health records. Either ang gagawa nito yung class advisor or tawag dito ang MAPE teacher. Parang body mass index record. Ito ng mga bata, parang health records. Ito, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's the answer. So, nilagay ko itong particular question na ito kasi sometimes the licensure exam for teachers would also like to measure kung familiar yung mga examinees sa mga trabaho natin ginagawa aside from yung teaching process. Dapat yung mga paperworks familiar din tayo. So, kaya naglagay ako ng ganyan tanong. Okay.
Form 2.
Form 2 is attendance. Correct. Number 7.
Attendance. A method of teaching that starts from giving simple examples and ending in a generalization is known as, is it A, inductive, B, deductive, C, transductive, or D, interdisciplinary method? Sir Noy?
I'm sure familiar ka dito. Na-remember mo ito nung nag-college ka. Tinuturo ito sa College of Education. Di ba? Ito yung mga basic methods of teaching. Diba? Narinig mo na yung inductive, deductive.
Sir, hulaan ko, sir. Okay na ba maghulaan muna ako dito?
Of course.
Sir, is it A,
ganito ang gawin mo. Tanggalin mo muna yung obviously wrong. Ano sa palagay mo yung obviously wrong dyan?
Sir, parang dalawa lang, sir, pagpipilian ko, A or B lang. Parang
Okay,
C and D. Parang
C and D masyadong malayo for you. So, very good. So, 50-50 ka na kaagad. Okay, sige. And your intelligent
and then, sir, my guess is inductive kasi from simple to general.
Precisely.
Kumbaga pa-complicated.
Okay. That is the right answer. It's called the...
Pasok ba ako, sir, dyan?
Pasok na pasok, 100%. So, pag sinabing inductive, I always teach this to my student. Pag inductive, in your head, imagine a pyramid. A pyramid. The pyramid starts from a small point and it ends with a big line underneath, di ba? So it means when it comes to teaching, using the inductive method, you start from simple, then you end with big. Example, then generalization or conclusion. So for example, going back to dun sa lesson kanina, addition of similar fraction, the teacher can give example 1, example 2, example 3, and at the end of all those examples, sasabihin niya, so the rule in adding similar fraction is very easy. All you have to do is to add the numerator, and then you copy the denominator, and if you can reduce it to lowest term, even better. That is what you call inductive. If you are familiar with inductive, forget about deductive. You just tell yourself that is the opposite of inductive. That's a technique because if you memorize yung kanilang specific mga characteristic, there is a tendency for you to get confused and ma-interchange pa yung dalawa na yon. So I would always suggest to only put in your head just one, and the other is just the opposite. So if you can put in your head the triangle, that pyramid, the opposite is like that. It starts with
inverted pyramid.
Inverted pyramid, it then ends with small. Generalization, then example, example, example. The teacher can say, mammals are animals with body hair. They are warm-blooded, okay, etc., etc. Example of this are the following: dog, cat, yun na yun. So ito naman, nagbigay muna siya ng general characteristic before siya nagbigay ng mga example. But ang suggestion ko, just put in your head or just memorize one and then say to yourself the other is just the opposite. Ano yung natirang dalawa?
Okay.
Okay, yung transductive, actually hindi pa madalas gamitin, but this is being done in advanced mga statistics. So ito yung obvious distractor talaga ito. So if you are familiar with inductive and deductive, doon ka na lang talaga magpo-focus. Yung interdisciplinary method naman, this is used naman in discussion. It's a form of discussion wherein the teacher will present a particular topic based on the different views of disciplines. Halimbawa, they're talking about poverty. Okay? Poverty ang kanilang topic. So, the teacher will present poverty from the different vantage points. Say, for example, ano ang tingin ng economics when it comes to poverty? Anong tingin ng politics? Sociology. From the point of view of psychology, from the point of view of religion.
Psychology.
That is what we call interdisciplinary method. Okay, but here the answer is again, Edward. If it's simple to complex, then that is inductive. Very good.
Okay. Number 8, sir. Teacher Marissa, a grade 2 math teacher, believes in law of exercise in learning. Which among the following will she most likely utilize in her lesson? Is it A, review, B, drill, C, checkup, or D, surprise quiz?
Remember the 3 laws of learning? Thorndike, law of exercise, law of... Tandaan mo yun, that there are 3 laws of learning. No? Law of exercise, then there is what we call the law of readiness, and then the other law is, it escaped my mind now. Ito yung mahirap pag live interview. Law of exercise, law of readiness, and oh my goodness, nakakahiya naman. It escaped my head right now. But anyway, let's focus on the law of exercise. So when say the law of exercise, ang sabi ni Thorndike is, correct practice makes perfect. Kapag paulit-ulit natin ginagawa ang isang tamang bagay, ito ay nagiging bahagi ng ating kamalayan, ito ay nagiging daluyan ng kaalaman or learning. So dito, sa 4 na ito, ano dito ang example ng law of exercise? Inuulit-ulit. Okay, ano dito yung, the answer here is letter B.
Sir, pwede ako manghula ulit?
Sige, hulaan mo ulit.
Hulaan ko ulit. Sir, is it drill?
Very good. Yes, drill. Because when you say
Saka, sir, nahanap ko na po yung pangatlo, law of effect daw.
Yes, law of effect. At ang law of effect naman, ito yung halimbawa, kapag ang isang bagay ay nasusundan lagi ng isang positibo, magandang effect sa'yo, so nagiging daluyan ito ng learning. Yan. So yung drill, ito yung paulit-ulit na ginagawa. Ano ba yung mga example ng drill? Halimbawa, a grade 2 student will try to say yung multiplication table, about table of 2. 2 times 1 equals 2. 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 times 3 equals 6. Kapag paulit-ulit itong ginagawa, everyday meron silang drill na ginagamit ng teacher. Ito yung inuulit-ulit nila. Ito ay kikintal sa kanilang isipan. Nagiging learning ito. Exercise ang tawag.
Sir, sa amin yung speech drills, yung pag-pronounce ng mga words, yung example ba yun, sir?
Oh, yes. Basta yung correct practice, inuulit-ulit, di ba? Yes, kumbaga nagiging bahagi yan talaga ng learning. Yan. Sige, so ito madali lang ito. The others are self-explanatory naman. Yan. Number 9.
Number 9, Teacher Robert plans to have a review on a Friday regarding all the lessons he taught from Monday to Thursday. This type of review is known as, is it A, daily review, B, integrated review, C, cumulative review, or D, graded review?
Yes, importante ang review, Ang main purpose of review is actually to connect, to connect your previous lesson to your new lesson. Kasi kailangan meron tayong smooth transition, ano, na hindi totally off tangent yung pag-uusapan ngayon sa pinag-uusapan kahapon. So para ma-provide yung connection na yan, sometimes we conduct review. So, yun ang isa sa mga techniques on how to create a good sense of transition. But there are different kinds of review. Pag sinabing daily review, from the word daily, ito lang yung pang-araw-araw to simply connect.
Araw-araw.
Okay, yes, halimbawa, yung lesson ngayon, i-connect natin sa lesson kahapon, so daily ang review doon. Kapag sinabing integrated review, ito naman yung, ito, obvious distractor ito eh. Ito yung pagkuha ng mga result ng mga previous study, parang you review all those previous study and connect it with the topic now. Yung cumulative review naman, yung mga lesson nung Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, i-review mo sila niyan pagdating ng Friday. And then yung graded review naman, it can be in a form of question and answer. Pag tama yung sagot nila, may points sila. So if the teacher would like to review on a Friday regarding all the lessons starting from Monday up to Thursday, this is basically known as cumulative review. Correct. Yan. Okay. Number 10.
So number 10, sir, halfway through. What teaching method is used when students formally present their arguments, whether they are pro or anti regarding a particular issue? Is it A, roundtable discussion, B, open forum, C, debate, or D, reporting? Nako.
Okay. Hulaan mo.
Sir, medyo madali lang. Tama po ba?
Kaya mo yan. Ano yung tawag dyan?
Kasi sir, parang feeling ko yung roundtable, hindi siya pro and anti. The same with open forum. I think,
Correct.
sir, debate. C.
Yes, debate. Ano? When there is pro and anti, then obviously the method being utilized is what we call debate. And when it comes to debate, there is one ideal technique the teachers are using when it comes to debate. And we call it, are you familiar with that form of debate? We call it the Oxford Oregon debate pattern. Ano? So, when you say debate, this is really a formal presentation of your arguments. Ano? So
Arguments.
There are pro and anti, and when you present your arguments formally to the class, that is what you call debate. So hindi porket nagkaroon ng pagkakaiba ng idea si Peter and James at nagbibigay siya ng kanyang idea at idea ito, hindi debate ang nangyayari doon. These are just simple arguments, and it can happen anytime in the classroom. As part of an intellectual discourse, there will always be an argument. But when you say debate, this is really a method. You know? It's a method. It's a formal presentation of your arguments. The teacher can say, okay, on Friday, we're going to have a debate. Okay, James will lead the anti-group and Peter will lead the pro-group, and they will be helped with certain researchers, sila ganito, sila ganyan. Then on Friday, we will arrange this classroom in such a way, blah, blah, blah. And this is the format that we're going to use, the Oxford Oregon pattern, blah, blah, blah. Then they are having a debate. These are not just arguments, but a formal debate. Yeah. Yung roundtable discussion naman, of course, it's not necessarily you have to have a roundtable to conduct a roundtable. No, it's just a metaphor. Pero when you say roundtable discussion, it's when you sit and then discuss certain things. Ano? You give your ideas. Yeah. Open forum naman is talagang when you say open forum, it's just, you give your ideas, whatever comes into your head, you open forum talaga siya. And then reporting naman, believe it or not, reporting is a technique of discussion. Dito, yung estudyante, it is the student who gives he shares the idea, the lesson in a direct, uninterrupted manner. Okay? Ito yung madalas abusuhin ng teacher, no? Okay, sabi ng teacher, okay, tomorrow reporting, next week reporting, Monday na naman reporting. That's not good, because reporting is a good method, especially if only the teacher knows how to really utilize this form of discussion. Remember, reporting is a technique of discussion. Okay. Next.
Noted. Yes, sir. Noted. Number 11, everything being equal, the best device in the classroom is it A, mock-up, B, model, C, media technology, or D, teacher? Nako po, sir.
Hulaan mo ulit.
Everything being equal.
Yes.
The best device in the class. Parang ako, sir, parang feeling ko, sir, teacher siguro. I'm not so sure about this, but ang hula ko, teacher.
When you say device,
although hindi naman tayo device.
When you say device are the things that the teacher utilize. A material can be a material to to encourage a smooth flow of discussion, a smooth flow of learning. But remember that a teacher is also considered a device. In fact, the best device there is the teacher. Kahit walang mock-up, kahit walang model, kahit walang media technology, if there is a teacher, that's the best. You are your best device. Tandaan niya.
So tama ako, sir? Tama ba ang sagot ko?
Yes. But in fact kasi, okay. There is no best device. Kasi when you say device, it depends on the topic. Like for example, if the topic is about microorganism, the best device will be a microscope. Diba? Yun ang kailangan ng device because you're talking about microorganism. But everything being equal and given all this option, the best device, always remember, is the teacher. But there's so many devices, Edward. Like for example, a mock-up. A mock-up is just like a model, but the only difference between a mock-up and a mock-up you can manipulate. Like for example, there's a human form, and then you can open it, and you can see the digestive system, the circulatory system, skeletal system. That's a mock-up. A model you cannot manipulate. Talagang parang model lang siya. Parang it's a shape of, say for example, a model of an apple. That's it. That's a model. But when you say a mock-up, there's an apple, and you can open it, and you can see the seed inside, etc., etc. That's a mock-up. Then media technology, of course, we know. Television, DVD, di ba? Ang dami pa. What are other devices? There are maps, di ba? There are what we call the globe. Ang dami pa. We have mga mobile. May mga kung ano-ano pa. But the best device is always the teacher. Okay.
Totoo yan, sir.
Yes.
Number 12, a technique of in-service training for teachers that involves identification of pilot programs delivered by guest consultants via online mode is known as, is it A, webinar, B, workshop, C, seminar, or D, buzz session?
Here, the magic word
So ito,
the magic word is
sakto po ito para
online.
sa mga panahon ngayon.
And the magic word there is online. So among the four, sino dito yung online, Edward?
Webinars, sir, of course.
Yes. So this is bonus, and it's so easy. I included this particular question because I have a strong feeling that the board exam will include questions that are kumbaga relevant, especially during this time, during the time of pandemic, wherein we were able to be creative enough to create mga hybrid programs, like mga webinar series, mga ganyan, etc. So I included that. So workshop, seminar, buzz discussion, these are not online usually. So, but a webinar is strictly online talaga yan. That's the word web there. Diba? It's a combination of web and seminar. That's why it's called webinar. Okay. Sige. Additional lang. Sometimes may mga questions sila. Nalilito yung bata. Is it a seminar or is it a the other one, madalas sila malito dun sa term na I forgot. Ano yun? Yung what's this term? Yung conference, alito sa word there is word like seminar, conference, and symposium. Magkakaiba yan.
Symposium.
Okay. When you say seminar, okay, there can be like, for example, one expert of talking about a certain topic. That's a seminar. Okay? But when you say a symposium, iba yun. Because a symposium can involve several experts, and each expert is talking about a different topic under one theme. So for example, ang theme is about hybrid modalities of learning. That's the theme. And there are 5 experts. And the first expert will talk about webinar development in the area of mathematics. The other one naman is in the area of PLE, etc. So ang tawag doon is symposium because different experts are talking about different topics under the umbrella of one theme. But when you say seminar, iisa, or sometimes we call it a panel type, ibig sabihin nun, isa lang ang topic and all the experts are gearing to or talking about that particular topic. Yun ang difference, no? Okay? Sige. Ito kaya.
Okay, so number 13.
Kaya mo to.
Nako, sir, sana. Skinner's theory that catapulted the reinforcement practice in the classroom is known as A, SR theory, B, classical conditioning theory, C, operant conditioning theory, or D, Gestalt theory.
Okay, of course. Remember
Wala, sir,
Skinner?
hindi ko na matandaan to, pero
Okay.
sir, B.F. Skinner, sir, parang ano yan, sir, hindi naman siya, sir, yung sa aso, di ba? Iba yung sa aso. Siya ba yung sa aso, sir? Hindi ko na matandaan.
Yeah, okay.
Yung dog
Yung
salivation, and
salivation,
ano, di ba?
okay. Okay. At least may mga meron kang mga alaala na gano'n. Okay. Si Barhas F. Skinner, okay, siya yung the expert regarding reinforcement. Okay? Operant conditioning theory. Yan. Whenever you talk about reinforcement, that is part of the operant conditioning theory. Ang pinagmulan nito, yung mas matandang theory, is the classical conditioning theory. Ito yung ginamit yung dog salivation ni Ivan Pavlov.
Ayun, Pavlov.
Yeah. So, si SR theory naman, ito yung tatay ng lahat ng mga learning theories. Ito naman yung kay Thorndike. Kay Edward Thorndike. Si Gestalt naman, hindi ito tao, isang grupo sila na pinangungunahan naman ito nila Wertheimer, nila Kafka, sila yan. So, ang technique dito, you associate one person per theory. So, when you say SR theory, Edward Thorndike. Classical conditioning, Ivan Pavlov. Operant conditioning, Barhas Skinner. Gestalt, Kafka, Wertheimer. Yan ang sinasabi. Yan ang pinakamadaling way to memorize it. Okay. 14.
Okay, number 14, sir. Which among the following is not an ideal teacher? A, puts the students at the heart of the teaching process. Nakaiyak yun, sir. B, financially enriching himself regardless of ethical issues. What? Letter C, achieves mastery of lesson and techniques. And D, continues seeking professional growth.
Interesting, ano? This is a tricky question. It might sound very easy, but some students, especially examinees rather, during mga tense moments, kung minsan nakakalimutan nila na ang hinahanap pala is the not. So, hindi capitalize yung not dito. So, ang hinahanap natin is something negative. So,
negative.
At the end of each statement, you have to put a marker, the plus or minus. Plus meaning positive, minus meaning negative. Like for letter A, when you put the students at the heart of the teaching process, wow, ano, tumitibok ang puso ng kanyang proseso dahil sa kanyang mga mag-aaral. This is a positive statement. Plus, financially enriching himself regardless of ethical issue, pinapayaman ng sarili, negative. Achieves mastery of lesson and techniques, positive. Continues seeking professional growth, positive. So the arrangement is plus, minus, plus, plus. The answer will be letter B. Yan ang pinakamadaling solution natin gagawin dyan. Diba? Yan. But of course, we teach of course, it's also a job. We have to earn, we have to support our family, we have to support some people of our lives. So therefore, it has to be financially rewarding also. But if you try to gain financial stability regardless of ethical issue, then that's bad. Then corruption happens. Hindi tama yun. Yes.
Tama po.
Okay? Sige.
I agree.
Proceed.
Number 15 po. As a science teacher, Teacher Minerva would most likely do, is it A, controlling variables, B, measuring, C, experimenting, or D, all of the above?
Okay. I added this particular question to emphasize yung isang technique natin, Every time you will see in the option all of the above, you always pause and consider that particular option, because normally pag lumalabas yung all of the above, mga 60% of the time that is the right answer. So if A, B, and C are all plausible answer, then chances are it's really all of the above. You will never answer all of the above kung may nakita ka A, B, and C na isang obviously wrong answer. But if it's all plausible naman, the answer will really be all of the above. Or sometimes letter D will be none of the above. So pause again, consider that 60% of the time that can be the right answer, but you will never answer none of the above if A, B, or C, if one of them is a plausible right answer. Yun ang technique niya. But of course, controlling variable, measuring, experimenting, these are some of the things a science teacher really is doing inside the classroom. So the answer here is all of the above. Yan.
Letter D.
Yes.
Apo. Number 16, in science teaching, teachers encourage their students to make an intelligent guess prior to experimentation. This hunch or gut feel is also known as, is it A, inference, B, prediction, C, forecast, or D, hypothesis?
Correct. May guess ka ba dyan, Edward?
Meron, sir, akong guess dyan. Tingin ko, sir,
sige.
hypothesis. I guess, sir,
Okay.
parang hypothesis.
Bago ko sabihin na tama o mali, bakit hindi mo napili yung A, B, and C?
Kasi, sir, parang yung inference, dapat, sir, nabasa mo na or napag-aralan mo na bago ka makapag-infer. And then, sir, prediction is sometimes not based on anything. So, parang hindi siya intelligently made. And forecast, sir, parang talagang, yung sir, forecast parang feeling ko dapat talaga, ano yan parang hinuhulaan mo lang talaga ng wala ka masyadong basihan. Compared to talaga hypothesis na gano'n kang pinag-aaralan mo muna, like intellectual yung mga guess mo.
Okay.
Very so, good. Hindi ko alam.
No, which is exactly is the right answer. And if you notice, inference, prediction, and forecast, they all belong to one cluster. Diba? Isang cluster lang sila di ba? It all involves parang saying something about a future happening, di ba? When you infer, when you predict, when you forecast, isang cluster lang sila. Ibang-iba talaga sa kanila si hypothesis. And hypothesis, as we all know, it is an intelligent guess. Hindi lang siya basta-basta guess, ano? Halimbawa, nakita ng mga bata na ang kanilang fish pond, patay ang mga isda. Sabi ng teacher, okay, ano kaya ang dahilan kung bakit sila namatay? Let's create our hypothesis. Ano ang yung intelligent guess? So pag sinabi ng bata, nalunod, that is not a hypothesis because it is not an intelligent guess. Or pag sinabi ng isang bata, nakalimutang huminga, ma'am, hindi rin hypothesis yun kasi hindi siya intelligent. Ang isda ba nakakalimutang huminga? Ang isda ba nalulunod? Hindi tamang hypothesis yun. Pero kung ang sinagot ng bata, ma'am, sa akin
I'll try, sir.
Sige.
Try ko, sir, kung anong...
Sige, give a hypothesis.
Namatay ang mga isda dahil mataas ang concentration ng oxygen sa tubig.
Possible, di ba?
Pwede ba yun, sir?
That can be a hypothesis. It can be a funny but might be a good hypothesis, hindi ba?
Or sir, maputik yung tubig. Ganun. Parang ganyan, kaya namatay. Ayan.
Or ang sabi ni Patricia, sabi niya, well, you see, ma'am, our neighbor is a factory. Now, this factory might be emitting some toxic element that goes inside the fish pond, ingested by the fish, causing their early demise. Ganon. Yun ang mga intelligent hypothesis. Hindi pa pwede yung nalunod, nakalimutang huminga, di ba?
Nalunod yung isda.
Hindi matalinong guess yun. Hindi siya matuturing na hypothesis. Di ba?
Tama.
Okay. Nag-enjoy ka ba, Edward, sa ating discussion? Tayong dalawa.
Opo, sir. Sobra.
Okay. This one.
Number 17 po. An inventive educator, he presented ways on how students can creatively process a concept by asking them to wear different colored hats that correspond to a particular thought process. Is it A, Stephen Covey, B, Edward de Bono, C, Sun Tzu, and D, Grant Wiggins?
I'm sure you can answer this. Being a literature major, English major, teaching English, mga literature, I'm sure you can answer this. Sige nga.
No, sir, parang hindi ko nga ito alam eh.
Hindi ka ba familiar sa kanya?
Kay Sun Tzu, sir. Si Sun Tzu lang po ang nabasa ko dito, yung Art of War.
Oh, good.
Si Stephen Covey po.
The mere fact that you were able to eradicate Sun Tzu, the Art of War siya, you increase your chance of guessing by 33.33%. Your chance now of getting the right answer is 33.
Oh, sige, sir. Try ko ulit, sir. Try ko ulit.
Sun Tzu, tanggal na. Because ano sabi mo? Sun Tzu is the author of
Art of War, sir. Chinese.
Very good. Very good.
And then, I am not familiar with Grant Wiggins and Edward de Bono. But Stephen Covey, meron po ako mga nabasa article about him that he's like doing some parang parang yung book po about leadership, mga ganyan.
Very good.
Sigurado.
Stephen Covey is the famous author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Ayun.
Okay. Self-leadership, self-improvement. Stephen Covey. The question now is about the concept of teaching wherein students will wear different colored hats and each hat corresponds to a certain thought process. Like, for example, this color means judgment. This color means process. This color means emotion. So pag ang naka-assign sa iyo is red, it responds to a certain thought process. So sino yun? Is it Edward de Bono or Grant Wiggins? 50-59 chance mo. So sino kaya dyan?
Sige sir, try ko
Wala mo.
Since talagang wala akong idea sir, tingin ko D.
Sino?
Grant Wiggins.
Oh, this time hindi ka sinuwerte. No. Hindi kasi. The answer here is Edward de Bono. Edward de Bono is the famous author who wrote the book The Six Thinking Hats. The Six Thinking Hats. So there are 6 hats with different colors. There's red, there's green, there's white, there's black, green, and yellow. And then each student will be given a hat. And depending on the hat that they're wearing, they're given this particular thought process connected with the hat. Yun, that's Edward de Bono. Si Grant Wiggins.
Kapangalan ko pa man din, sir, no? Hindi ko pa nakuha.
Si Grant Wiggins naman is the famous author of UBD, Understanding by Design, together with McPeaky. Dalawa sila doon. So, okay? So, yan.
So, the answer, sir, is letter B.
B,
no?
Edward de Bono. Yeah.
Tandaan niyo yan, guys, Huwag kayong gagaya sa akin. Number 18. As a first step to capture the attention of the students, Teacher Sophia utilizes techniques to make her students focus on the lesson. This is known as it A, motivation, B, enrichment, C, reinforcement, or D, generalization. Sir, pwede ba ka manghula dito?
Pero before ka manghula, di ba? Ang tandaan mo lang dito, Edward, di ba? First step. So, sino sa apat na ito ang ibinibigay sa unang bahagi ng ating pagtuturo? What is that? What is your guess?
I think, sir, motivation, sir, ang hula ko dito. Motivation.
Very good. Because enrichment, reinforcement, generalization, these are activities, these are processes
yan, sir,
that are usually found at the end of our lesson. Diba? You enrich after the lesson, you reinforce after the lesson, you generalize after presenting the lesson, but you motivate before you start your lesson. How? And why? You do that to capture the attention so that the student will focus on the lesson. Very good, Edward. Diba? Very good. Okay, next.
Papasa na ba ako, sir?
Papasa ka na. Ang dami mo na hulaan na tama eh.
Sir, number 19.
Okay.
To entice the slow learners to participate in the discussion, Teacher Nico gives a token for every correct response. This can be accumulated in exchange for a prize they like toys, candies, etc. At the end of the week, the token is an example of, is it A, bribe, B, enrichment, C, reinforcement, or D, classroom ayuda?
Diba may classroom
sir,
ayuda
pa? Sir, okay lang?
Go, sige.
Hulaan ko. Tingin ko, sir, out na yung classroom ayuda.
Of course.
And then out na rin, sir, yung bribe. Okay. I think 2 top choices would have to be enrichment or reinforcement. Pero, sir, palagay ko, sir, malakas po ang paramdam ko. Ito po ay reinforcement.
Very good. Reinforcement is the right answer. And this particular concept, it was started by this guy whose name is Barhas F. Skinner. Kanya galing yan. Token strategy. Because reinforcement is not just verbal reinforcement, saying like, very good, good job, nice thinking. Verbal reinforcement yun. Reinforcement can also take in the form of a token, like a toy, a candy. Effective din yun. But, of course, when you give this token, hindi pwedeng for every correct response, you give a token, nagkakaroon ng satiation, nagsasawa. Sasabihin ng bata, candy na naman, puro candy na naman, sakit na nga ng ngipin. Hindi na sila sasagot, di ba? Sabi ko, whoever gives the answer, candy for you, hindi pwedeng lagi na yun.
So, tamas na yung sugar level ng mga bata.
Hindi na nagiging effective yung reinforcement. So, sabi ni Skinner, then you have to learn how to schedule your reinforcement. Kagaya nito, si Teacher Nico, nagbibigay siya ng token at the end of the week. Meaning to say, kung ilan yung tamang na isagot mo, yun ang bibilangin natin, and that will be used to exchange for a prize. Di ba? Ang tawag dyan is it's a form of reinforcement. Pero may mga scheduling, hindi laging bigay ka lang na bigay. It can be weekly, it can be every 2 correct response, it can be at the end of the month, ganyan. Even in the workforce, ginagawa natin yan. Ginagamit natin yung concept of reinforcement ni Skinner. Like, for example, yung 13-month pay. Kaya nga, 13-month pay, ilalagay yan sa pinakadulo ng taon. or Christmas bonus or mid-year bonus. Kasi if every day you have a bonus, Monday bonus, Tuesday bonus, Wednesday bonus, the concept of bonus or the power, reinforcement power of that bonus, nawawalan siya. Nawawalan ng power. Nagiging satiated yung tao. That's why reinforcement should be carefully studied. It has to be scheduled properly. Yeah. And last
Tama,
na,
sir.
isa na lang, Edward. Isa na lang.
Last na, number 20. Isa na lang, sir. Number 20, a particular KSA or knowledge, skill, and attitude a student is expected to achieve at the end of the class or class lesson is known as set A, terminal behavior, B, objective of lesson, C, student achievement, or D, special talent.
So, ano yung any skill or an attitude or a knowledge that you are expected to achieve at the end of our lesson? We call it as what? Can you eradicate the wrong answer? Or obviously,
I think, sir, special talent is out na ata yan, sir, diba?
Yes.
And then, I think, sir, yung student achievement, tatanggalin ko rin po
because parang di naman makuha yung student achievement at the end of the class lesson lang, di ba? Okay. So,
totoo po yan. So, dalawa lang po, terminal behavior or objective of lesson. Pero, sir, parang, I'm not sure, sir, parang I'm leaning towards objective of lesson. Tama ba ako, sir, or mali?
The answer there, Edward, is terminal behavior. Okay, because objective of the lesson, actually, it's a statement, okay, guiding the teacher towards the goal of the lesson. That's the objective. But yung particular skill that the student should achieve, should be able to achieve is, we call it the terminal behavior. Yun ang tawag dyan. Diba?
Noted po yan,
halimbawa, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to pinpoint exactly which are the works of Leonardo da Vinci with, diba? Yun ang terminal behavior mo. Yan.
Grabe, sir, hindi ako naka-perfect, pero I'm sure yung mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon makaka-perfect sa exam.
I'm sure, yes. So, I hope na with our 20 questions, nakatulong tayo na magkaroon pa ng higit na confidence yung ating mga examinees this coming January 30, ano? So, hangad namin.
Oo, for sure, sir. Kasi kahit po ako na-enlighten po ako ng sobra ako na-enlighten. Kaya I'm sure yung ating mga listeners, ang ating mga viewers ay na-enlighten din. And I guess this would make them ready for the board exam for teachers. Di ba, Sir Noy?
Yes. So again, good luck. And we are consistently praying for your success. So, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Sir Noy.
Bye-bye, Edward. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much.
No problem po. Anytime po.